Jamie, just thought I'd catch up with you. Now you've had a chance to reflect on I think it was 12 days ago when Jack should have been announced, should change his life and announced the unified champion, super lightweight champion of the world. And for 2 minutes, he actually was, because from when the fight finished to when the decision was announced, everyone in the auditorium knew that Jack had just become a new legend.
Yeah. So it's listen, it's frustrating to say the least. I've said this loads of times over the last 12 days. Everyone can't be wrong. You know, one or two people out of thousands and thousands of people don't make a difference. You know, everyone knows what they're seeing, and you know, there is an inquiry going into it, which I don't know what will come of it, because in the past nothing's ever been done about it. But if nothing gets done now on this, you know, with this type of decision at this level, then when will it? So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
No, it's I don't know, and I've never seen it where unilaterally everyone in the auditorium, every guy who was commentating on it, everyone who was ringside, not one person had Josh winning. Yeah. And what I wanted to allude to as well, you know, everyone was talking about Josh being weight drained and this and that, and maybe that might be slightly, but I come in here at least twice a week. Jack's always here, always training, always moving around with someone. He's helped out so many of the VIP fighters over the last few years. It's unreal. And the same thing he does as he did on that night is you can't hit him. You can't hit clean.
Very, very difficult to hit him. And you know what? Nobody. It was his sort of coming out party. That no one had really seen him on that type of stage because of the, you know, the stages he boxed on previously and stuff like that. And he'd certainly never boxed anyone on the level of Josh Taylor. But that's why I kept saying to people, just watching, you wait and see. He's everyone who's been in there with him says the same thing about him. He's so hard to hit cleanly. And you know, watching it back, when I was watching, I've watched it 3 or 4 times now, the fight, and when I'm watching it back, you know, if you sort of switch the roles around, and so you didn't know which each fighter was, and you went, okay, one of these is the champion, one of these is the guy who's never fought at world level, you know, let's decide which one's which. At the end of it, you'd have said Jack was the champion, and you'd have been saying, Josh Taylor, listen, you know, he did well, but you know, he's world-class fighter, but Jack outsmarted him, outpunched him, outfought him, and you know, when you sort of look at it from that point of view, you start to think, wow, you know, it was an unbelievable performance, considering he'd never been in there with anyone at that level, to the point where he made him look really ordinary, and he's not. But that's not that Josh had a bad night. That's because Jack's very, very good at stopping people doing what they're good at.
You know, I've spoken about. I think in years to come, you know, we'll talk about Jack Catterall's defensive skills in the same way that we talked about Pernell Whitaker and Floyd Mayweather. You know, listen, I mean, he's certainly on a par with them, isn't he?
It's early days to make them type of comparisons, but in terms of how difficult he is to catch cleanly, then he's well on his way to, you know, if he keeps going down this path, to being compared to people like that. Because, like, I'm not, no exaggeration, literally every single person who gets in the ring with him, who he's boxed or who he's sparring with, all come out frustrated, going, he's so hard to hit.
And also, he drains you because he keeps you thinking all the time, doesn't he?
Yeah. So the mental focus, what you need to concentrate, because he punches really hard, Jack, as well. So not only does he make himself difficult to hit and control the tempo of the fight, and also get you to the stage where you're frustrated and you're trying to sort of force action. Then he'll let you walk into a solid shot, which sort of sets you back in a couple of steps, and hurts people a lot of the time, and stops them then from trying to do what the only thing is to have any sort of success against him. So that's what I'm saying. So he's really, really difficult to beat. And
that's why he was undefeated in 26 fights.
Yeah, exactly. And people was right. People was right in the build-up saying, yeah, but he's never fought this level. Of course he's not, because that's what happens in people's careers. It progresses, and then eventually you get that step up, and you either sink or swim. And he didn't only swim. He beat the world record in his first attempt, and never. Someone didn't press the stopwatch in time.
No. Did it go as you planned? I mean, I'm fortunate to be here when you've been working on game plans, and literally the final session I filmed here, which was about 8 days before the fight, the things that you were working on there actually were utilised in the fight. Did it go exactly as you thought?
It went as we planned, exactly that, yeah. And I said this also in the build-up is, listen, you can come up with all these fancy sort of extravagant game plans, but if you do that, or it's got to be quite an advanced setup at that level, you also need a fighter capable of carrying it out. Otherwise, it's negligent. It doesn't matter. But I knew I had a fighter in Jack capable of being able to do it. So, the most frustrating part of it is you sit here for weeks and weeks and months planning to do it, hoping that it comes off, and you have your little twists and turns, and you think, right, well, if that doesn't work, then we're going to do this, and everything just sort of worked. First, for the game plan number 1 worked. We didn't have to veer off it at all, and then we sat here with nothing to show for it.
How's Jack now? How's he?
He's all right. He's
because he was back in here a few days ago.
Yeah, he came in. He was training on Monday. He came back in. He dusted himself off, and he's got that bit between his teeth now. Listen, hopefully the WBO enforce a rematch, and I don't think Josh is going to stay at the weight. I think he's going to move up, and then hopefully he gets to fight for the world title. Next fight. That's what we're hoping for.
And do you think they'll if they can't reverse the decision, which is highly unlikely that they will, do you think they'll make it so the next fight he has is still for all the titles? Is that a line you'd like to go down?
Well, ideally, yeah, but I don't think that'll happen. Too many politics involved in different governing bodies. But if Jack isn't able to capitalise on this situation, because listen, literally everyone you speak to, I've had so many DMs. I'm hundreds of DMs. A lot of them are from Scotland, and saying stuff like, your guy was great the other night. Really sorry you didn't get the decision. We feel embarrassed. It shouldn't have happened. So a lot of messages like that, and
but that doesn't help though, does it?
Doesn't make a difference. Doesn't make a difference. But what I'm saying to you is, everyone knows. So Jack's reputation's increased from it. So the very worst, what I'd hope for, is that he gets a straight shot at the world title if Josh moves up, and then in the future, then if Jack can win a world title, Josh has moved up. That makes for a massive rematch then, because Jack's going into it as a world champion himself, moving up a weight, and he carries a bit more weight in the negotiations then.
And is that possible? Because I mean, on the night, actually, I didn't realise how big Josh was. He did look a lot physically bigger than Jack, and Jack's not small at the weight.
No, he's tall. He was taller, but Jack's thick set.
He is.
And he could easily move up to welterweight. I actually had a conversation with him about a year ago, saying, you might have to move up. You're really big, and the only reason he does it really well is because he's so disciplined. And I've said this as well, Josh, if Josh isn't healthy at the weight, then he should move up. As much as we want the rematch, God, the first and foremost thing what you need to make sure of is health and safety. So if Josh is not healthy at the weight, he needs to move up, and then ideally we'll win a world title, go up there, and they can have a rematch at 147.
Well, you've got another busy fight on Friday night. You've got young Marc Leach fighting for the British title.
Yeah, he'll be the second Salfordian to have a Lonsdale belt after me if he pulls it off, which I firmly believe he will. He's a unbelievable talent, and God, if there's one fighter which is people say is harder to it than Jack Catterall, it's Marc Leach. So tune in BT Sport on Friday night, because you'll see a masterclass.
Yeah, well, I hope so. Fingers crossed. Like I say, I've known Mark since he was an amateur, and I think people forget because he turned over very young. He was only 18 when he turned over, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And I don't think there was a single thing that he didn't win in the amateurs, did he?
Yeah, I think he got ABA finals and he got a cut in like 5 seconds. So clash of heads straight away, and he was out and he lost the final on a cut. But other than that, he was on the England squad, and he turned pro really young. He was 18. He lost his debut because the guy was just too big for him, and maybe the occasion got to him because he's only 18. But ever since then, he's been basically flawless, and he a big win against Kazashvak on Sky. Thought that was going to catapult him. He's won about 3 eliminators, 2 of them allegedly final eliminators for the British, which never happened. But now he's ended up getting his chance eventually for the vacant title. So. Right,
well listen, I'll be tuning into that. It's on BT Sports, isn't it?
BT Sports, yeah.
Right, well, like I say, hopefully Jack gets to redeem himself and gets to pick up a world title.
Be a big rematch.
Yeah, it will be a big rematch, but it doesn't make it any easier, does it, mate?
No, not at all. He should have 5 belts on his mantelpiece now, and he's just got a Calvin Klein one.
But like I say, he is morally he's the champion.
Yeah, and everyone knows. You know what? That's the overwhelming message. What I've been getting sent is he's the real champ. Everyone knows who the real champ is, and it's nice, but it doesn't take away from the fact that on paper he's not.
No, and he's lost his own.
Yeah, well, yeah. That's one thing. What I hope maybe they can overturn the decision. If they don't do that and nothing happens, the next best thing is they change something in the long run, because I think their ego might not let them change it, because everyone's calling for it, and they sort of might go, well, we're not going to do what you want. But from that point, then if they then go, right, well, we're going to rejig the scoring system, you know, I don't know what, you know, they need to be more educated, more probably on a proper criteria for scoring before your opinion, so that's what you score a fight on, and then after that it's your opinion, because it's too opinion based. But so if changes are made afterwards, even though it won't make it right for us, in the long run for boxing it'll be better, and then it won't have been for nothing then.
Do you know, Jake Paul, I know this is a bit bizarre, but he did say something that, and I felt it was quite good and quite relevant. He was saying, have 2 sets of judges. Two judges, and when you've got 3 judges either side, yeah. One either side with one another, well, and then they've got to compare their results.
Yeah, and you've got a difference of opinion. When you're talking to someone, sometimes they pick up on something what you're not seeing. So yeah, I think it's a good idea.
I really do.
Jake Paul, the pioneer of boxing.
I know, mate. Crazy. Jamie, it's always a pleasure, mate. Good luck for Friday.
Cheers, Lee. Nice.
Bye bye.
For all boxing info, news, and latest interviews, amateur and pro across the north, click and subscribe. VIP Boxing Promotions. Also Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.